So here's what's going on. The World Cup is a week in, and the U.S. government can't get its own story straight on immigration enforcement. That's where we start today.
The Mullin contradiction is something else. CBS News had him on record saying ICE would be at stadiums every day and enforcement was always on the table. Then, LA County Sheriff Luna announcing in writing no civil immigration enforcement at any World Cup event.
The Secretary of Homeland Security contradicted by a county sheriff in Los Angeles. Let that sit.
It does sit.
And nobody at DHS or the White House has explained how that happened. That's the first thing we get into today.
And that's not the whole story. The pressure that produced that truce, union organizers, a 96% strike authorization vote, Human Rights Watch going after 19 FIFA sponsors, that's a story that didn't get a lot of airtime.
6 sponsors responded with vague human rights language. None endorsed the demand. Not one.
Tiro for 19.
And then there's Iran, playing their World Cup opener at SoFi Stadium 3 days ago. Drew 2-2 with New Zealand. Great match. Fans everywhere. And the moment the final whistle blows?
Ordered out.
Ordered out of the country that night. Al Jazeera confirmed it. Iran will have to leave the U.S. within hours of every single match. Captain Tarimi said the trip in took 5 hours of travel and security checks for what's normally a short hop from Tijuana.
Winger Tarabi's visa expired after Game 1, quietly fixed by the State Department.
Quietly. That word does a lot of work here. We'll look at who blinked, whether anybody's legal authority actually changed, and what the media missed asking.
The policy arc goes back 4 months, February to now. Worth walking through.
It is. First segment, the Mullin contradiction. The timeline, the sheriff's announcement, and what DHS still hasn't said publicly. Stay with us.
Before we dive in, a quick reminder, we love hearing from you. If you have questions or topics you'd like us to cover, head to the link in the description and submit your question. We read every single one. So here's what happened. May 12th, DHS Secretary Wayne Mullin goes on CBS News and says, quote, ICE always does immigration enforcement. We're always going to do that. Agents at World Cup stadiums every single day. That's the public statement on record.
And then, early June, LA County Sheriff Robert Luna holds a press conference.
Right, and the sheriff says federal officials personally told him, that ICE will not conduct civil immigration enforcement at any World Cup game or event in Los Angeles.
Wow.
Full stop.
So the Secretary of Homeland Security said one thing, then the federal officials who talked to the LA sheriff said something different. Those can't both be true at the same time.
They cannot, and nobody in mainstream media wants to say the word reversal. They're treating it like a nuanced policy evolution. It's not nuanced, it's a U-turn.
Look, to be fair, Mullin also told CBS that agents wouldn't be there to round up mass individuals, so there was always some ambiguity baked in.
Ambiguity. That's generous. The man posted a video on the ICE agency's own X account saying agents would be out there every day. That's not ambiguous. That's a press release.
Right, and that's the documented record. According to Al Jazeera's reporting from early June, Sheriff Luna said federal officials directly told him no civil immigration enforcement would happen. That's a specific named official contradicting a named cabinet secretary.
That's the whole contradiction in one sentence, Reagan. And what I want to know, what nobody's asking, is who changed the policy? Because somebody did. Mullin didn't walk it back publicly. The White House didn't issue a statement. The sheriff just announced it like a fait accompli.
Which raises the real question, did something happen between May and June to force that shift?
Something did, and it involves roughly 2,000 stadium workers and a strike vote. So here's what happened. Unite Here Local 11, roughly 2,000 workers at SoFi Stadium, filed a formal complaint to the National Labor Relations Board against FIFA and Kroenke Sports Entertainment. Then they voted 96% to authorize a strike.
A 96% authorization vote. That's not a close call.
That's a mandate. And the threat worked. According to Al Jazeera, federal officials told Sheriff Luna directly no civil immigration enforcement at any LA World Cup event. Days later, the union cuts a deal.
They got wage increases, job protections, and one provision that's genuinely unusual, the right to walk off mid-match if ICE shows up and they feel threatened.
That clause is now in the contract. Legal experts are calling it unprecedented in modern American labor history. Think about that for a second.
I will, and I'll also push back a little. Rush, does the sequence prove the union caused the reversal, or did DHS already want this outcome and the union gave them political cover?
Oh, that's the generous read.
I'm serious. If DHS intended to use World Cup security as an immigration dragnet, yes, the strike threat changed the calculus. But if the plan was always agents present, no immigration enforcement, then the union extracted a public statement confirming what was already true.
But here's what gets me. A union at one sports venue filed an NLRB complaint, threatened to pull the cooks and the bartenders, and the federal government blinked publicly. You know what nobody wants to say? That's the tail wagging the dog.
Or it's labor doing exactly what labor's supposed to do, protecting its members through collective bargaining.
Using federal immigration policy as the bargaining chip.
That's a fair characterization of the mechanism. Whether it's alarming depends on whether you think the policy deserved a challenge.
And that disagreement is exactly where this gets bigger, because Local 11 wasn't the only pressure. The sponsor campaign was operating at a completely different scale. Now flip that on its head. While the union was working the labor angle, Human Rights Watch was running a completely separate operation, corporate pressure.
The sponsor play. Yeah, that's a different kind of leverage entirely.
So here's what HRW and the Sport and Rights Alliance did. They wrote to 19 FIFA corporate sponsors, Coca-Cola, Visa, McDonald's, the whole roster, and said publicly demand an ICE truce. No enforcement at any World Cup venue, full stop. According to Human Rights Watch's own published report, 6 companies wrote back: Adidas, Coca-Cola, Lenovo, McDonald's, Unilever, Visa.
And what did those 6 say?
They said they regularly discuss human rights with FIFA. That's it. That's the entire answer. No commitment, no endorsement, just corporate throat clearing.
13 others didn't even respond. Bank of America, Aramco, Verizon, total silence.
Right. So the campaign got 6 non-answers and 13 ghostings. But you know what nobody wants to say? It still worked as a pressure mechanism, because now Coca-Cola is on record engaging FIFA about immigration enforcement. That's a news story.
I'd push back on the word worked. Extracting a vague corporate statement isn't a policy outcome. The enforcement posture didn't change because Unilever sent a letter.
Fair, but you're grading on final score. I'm grading on field position. You find an event with enough corporate exposure, pile on the sponsors, and now FIFA is getting lobbied from its own partners. That's the template. That's how you move policy without a single vote.
And here's the irony that makes this whole picture strange. Human Rights Watch is pressuring FIFA's sponsors to squeeze FIFA, while FIFA, in December 2025, gave Trump the inaugural FIFA Peace Prize. Infantino handed it to him personally at the World Cup draw.
The FIFA Peace Prize, for the man whose administration HRW says is running brutal immigration enforcement. Those two things exist simultaneously.
They do, which tells you FIFA is playing every side at once. And that's the backdrop for what happened when Iran actually showed up to play.
Now, the Iran story, you want to talk about administrative theater? This is it.
Walk us through it.
June 15th, SoFi Stadium, Iran and New Zealand played a legitimately thrilling match. 2-2 draw, 2 deficits erased, crackling crowd, final whistle blows, and then immediately U.S. officials tell the team, bus, now, back to Tijuana.
Seriously, no recovery night?
None. Coach Amir Galenou told the Associated Press, and I'm quoting here, "After the game today, they said to us, we have to leave immediately." Captain Mehdi Taremi said the trip in took 5 hours of travel and security checks. 5 hours for what is normally a short run from Tijuana to LA.
Okay, so to be fair, Iran's base camp is in Tijuana because the U.S. declined to host the team overnight at all. That was a known condition going in.
Known to whom? Galenou told reporters on record, "We don't know why they are returning us." The coach of a World Cup team doesn't know the rules he's operating under.
Andrew Giuliani, he's running the White House FIFA task force, told CBS that the team gets in the day before each match, leaves the evening of the match. He said, "We were clear this was the process."
Somebody forgot to tell the coach.
Right. And then there's the winger, Mehdi Taremi. His visa expired after Game 1, single entry. Everyone else had multiple entry. He'd have missed the rest of the tournament.
Until the State Department quietly fixed it, as soon as we became aware, they said. Which, great, but how does a player at a tournament the U.S. is co-hosting get a single-entry visa by accident?
That's the question. Not malice, probably, but this is what policy chaos actually looks like on the ground. Not some dramatic standoff, just a winger almost missing Belgium because of a paperwork gap nobody caught.
And that gap is exactly where the next question lives. Who's setting the rules here, and what does it mean that they keep changing? So, let's talk about what this policy trajectory actually looks like on paper. February. Acting ICE Director Todd Lyons testifies before the House Homeland Security Committee. Asked directly whether ICE would pause operations near matches, he refused to commit. Said ICE was a key part of the overall security apparatus for the tournament. Which sounds very official until June rolls around and Sheriff Luna announces, actually no civil immigration enforcement at any LA World Cup event. Full stop.
And that's the arc rush. February, Lyons no commitment to pause. Mullin hedging in May on CBS. Luna announcing the truce in June. That's 4 months and 3 position shifts from the same federal apparatus.
Oh, and Congress tried. They introduced the Save the World Cup Act in March, would have banned federal funds for civil immigration enforcement within 1 mile of any match or fan festival.
When nowhere, GOP-controlled Truce killed it before kickoff.
Died in committee, and yet the policy outcome that bill was asking for arrived anyway, without a vote, without a signature, without anything.
That's the thing I want people to sit with. You had legislators, Rep. Nellie Poo introduced it March 18th, trying to encode this through the normal process. That process failed, but union pressure, sponsor anxiety, and a county sheriff's press conference got the job done.
So what does that tell the next union, or the next advocacy group, or, and I mean this, the next foreign government that wants a carve-out at a U.S.-hosted event?
It tells them skip the legislation, apply pressure at the right choke points, and the policy moves without Congress touching it.
That's not a feature. That is a significant problem regardless of where you land on the underlying immigration question.
Agreed. You've essentially demonstrated that organized economic pressure outperforms the legislative process for shaping federal enforcement, at least at this scale.
And the press is treating this like a heartwarming story, which, well, that's a conversation for right now. Now, the media angle. NPR ran a piece on June 9th headlined, quote, "A warm World Cup welcome? U.S. immigration policies have a chilling effect." Read that headline again. A warm welcome? A chilling effect. That framing isn't reporting, that's a verdict.
And the verdict presupposes a baseline. A warm welcome is the default, enforcement is the deviation.
Exactly. You know what nobody wants to say? NPR treated the ICE truce as a restoration of normalcy, as if pausing federal immigration enforcement at a sporting event is just what a decent country does. That's the editorial assumption baked into every paragraph.
The framing choice matters here. Calling it a chilling effect implies the enforcement itself is the problem, not the question of whether a public commitment to suspend enforcement is actually a policy reversal.
They never ask that question. The Al Jazeera piece reports that civil immigration enforcement will not occur at LA World Cup venues.
Right.
Full stop. Sheriff Luna confirmed it. Fine, that's the news. But where's the paragraph that says, wait, 6 weeks ago the DHS Secretary said the opposite on camera?
That's the sentence that doesn't appear.
The absence is the story. The mainstream coverage says enforcement was suspended. What it doesn't say is who blinked and why. A union, a sponsor coalition, and enough public noise got a written commitment that directly contradicts what Mullin said. That's not a warm welcome. That's a negotiated retreat.
And covering it as a humanitarian baseline rather than a policy reversal lets every actor involved off the hook. DHS, FIFA, the sponsors who gave non-answers.
Nobody's on the hook in that framing. The story just happened. Enforcement chilled, welcome warmed. Nobody asked how.
Which means the harder question, did the administration actually change course or just change its public statement, never gets put to anyone.
And that question is exactly what we're about to get into. So, did they blink?
The public record says yes. Mullin went on CBS and said, ICE always does immigration enforcement. We're always going to do that. Left the door wide open. Then Sheriff Luna announced no civil immigration enforcement at any World Cup event. According to Al Jazeera, that commitment came directly from federal officials.
That's a blank.
Politically, absolutely, but Rush, the statute didn't change. DHS's legal authority is exactly where it was in February. What changed was the public statement.
A written commitment that contradicts what your secretary said on camera, that is the policy. You know what nobody wants to say? A union and a pressure campaign and 30 days of media noise moved federal enforcement policy. That's the story.
And I'm not disputing the reversal happened. I'm drawing a line between a political retreat and a legal one. If DHS decides next week the truce is inconvenient, Sheriff Luna's announcement doesn't stop them. The authority remains intact.
Which is the scarier version of the story. They caved under pressure, but they kept the loaded gun in the drawer.
That's actually the most accurate read. The administration preserved legal flexibility while absorbing a political loss. Whether that matters depends entirely on what they do from here.
And that's the question no one in mainstream coverage thought to ask. Not whether the truce was good news, but whether it holds.
The statute doesn't expire when the tournament ends. That's the part worth watching.
So my verdict stands, they blinked. Yours is, they blinked but kept their eyes open.
That's a fair summary.
A union, a pressure campaign, and 30 days of media noise moved federal enforcement policy. Whether you call that a blink or a tactical retreat, somebody moved, and it wasn't the union. That's a wrap on today's Rush Lindell Show. And look, the headline here is simple. DHS said one thing publicly, then handed a written commitment to a county sheriff saying the opposite. That's not a policy. That's a contradiction.
And the open question, the one I keep coming back to, is whether that written commitment holds past the tournament. The legal authority was never surrendered. Only the political position was.
Which means we'll be watching closely. Reagan, great work today.
This one had real layers, worth every minute.
If today's show got your wheels turning, subscribe, drop us a 5-star review, and send this to someone who needs to hear it. New episodes every weekday. We're not going anywhere.
See you tomorrow.
I'm Rush Lindell. Stay sharp.